This is Balneet Singh Bedi. I welcome all of you to the daily news analysis session by Tathastu ICS. Good morning Priyanka, Sravana, good morning everyone. Let's start today's session. Before we begin, these are the announcements for the upcoming GS batches as well as the optional batches which have already started. We have GS Foundation morning batch, GS Foundation evening batch. Both are starting from 19th of April. Then we have two optional batches, PSIR optional as well as philosophy optional. PSIR optional by Dr. Manoj Sharma sir and philosophy optional by Dr. Tanu Jain ma'am as well as her team. Good morning Anand, Deepika, Suresh, Lavanya, Priyanka. Good morning everyone. So any of you who wants to get enrolled, you can drop down your query in the comment box. Our team will get back to you, or you can directly visit the website and contact the Tathastu ICS team. Good morning Abhinandan. So let's start today's session. Under mains Manthan, we have three important editorials or important news. The first one is AP promulgates ordinances on subclassification of castes. Here AP is Andhra Pradesh. Basically Andhra Pradesh has promulgated an ordinance for the subclassification of scheduled caste in order to foster social justice and harmony within the society, in order to targeted the welfare delivery of services, in order to effective implementation of the policies as well as equitable distribution of the policies. So in this news, we will not get into the Andhra Pradesh government specific provisions, but we will understand the history of subclassification of castes. Recently, 2 days ago, as we all know, Telangana has become the first state in the country to operationalize subclassification of castes after the recent Supreme Court judgment. So we will be seeing the evolution of subclassification of castes. Good morning Nandini, Anandi, Queen, Golu, good morning everyone. Then prisons plagued by lack of mental health professionals, report says. We all know the major problem of overcrowding of prisons in India, which is a human right issue as well as logistical challenge for the country. Here we will be seeing why prisons are overcrowded, what Supreme Court has said. There are lack of psychiatrists. There are too many mental health issues of the prisoners, but there is no one to look after. There are overcrowding of prisons. We have capacity of around 5 lakh prisoners, but the prisoners are 7 lakh. So 2 lakh more than the capacity. That is why it's overcrowded, and it's overcrowded and that leads to major problems. So we will be seeing under this editorial in this news. Then we have V2G, that is vehicle to grid technology. It covers the GS3 science and technology. We will quickly see what this technology is about, so that if a question comes on this technology, you should be aware of that. Good morning Dheeraj. Then comes the Nahargarh Biological Park. This is there on the front page of the Delhi edition. We will just see where is this located, which is the largest wildlife sanctuary in India as well as the largest tiger reserve in India. So the first one, subclassification of scheduled caste. As I have told you, Andhra Pradesh has promulgated an ordinances on the same. Why in news? Subclassification of castes, and which paper it covers? It covers GS2 paper polity. Then the first one, before I begin this, I would like to tell you the evolution through 3 judgments. So everyone, I want everyone's focus to be here. So the first judgment is Indra Sawhney judgment. Indra Sawhney judgment versus Union of India in year 1992. This is also famously known as Mandal Commission case. Mandal Commission case. In this judgment, Supreme Court has allowed subclassification of other backward classes. It introduced the concept of creamy layer within the other backward castes. Then comes the next E.V. Chennaiya E.V. Chennaiya versus State of Andhra Pradesh, year 2004. In this judgment, Supreme Court has said that scheduled caste is a single homogeneous class and there should not be any subclassification within the scheduled caste. I repeat, in Indra Sawhney judgment, Supreme Court has said that there should be a creamy layer, there should be subclassification of OBCs. But in this judgment, E.V. Chennaiya versus State of Andhra Pradesh, year 2004, Supreme Court has said that scheduled caste is a single homogeneous caste and there should not be any sub-classification. Then comes the recent judgment, that is the State of Punjab versus Davinder Singh. State of Punjab versus Davinder Singh, year 2024. Here, what Supreme Court has said, Supreme Court has overturned its judgment, its previous judgment, that is E.V. Chennaiya versus State of Andhra Pradesh, and in this judgment, State of Punjab versus Davinder Singh, Supreme Court has said that there should be a sub-classification of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. But that sub-classification should not be arbitrary. It should be rational. It should be based on caste census. It should be based on proper empirical data in order to provide affirmative action policies to the most needy person. Affirmative action, the reservation policies, the quotas should reach the historically disadvantaged society, historically marginalized sections of the society, and not only the creamy layer. So this is the evolution of the subclassification of castes. Indra Sawhney judgment, E.V. Chennaiya judgment, and recent State of Punjab versus Davinder Singh judgment. So I'll read it for you. Supreme Court verdict on subclassification of SCs and ST. Here it is talking about State of Punjab versus Davinder Singh, that is 2024. So Supreme Court of India delivered a 6-1 majority verdict allowing states to subclassify SCs and STs based very level of backwardness, overturning its 2004 E.V. Chennaiya judgment. State can now classify SCs within 15% reservation quota to provide better support to the most disadvantaged groups. Even there is a demand of caste census in the country. Why there is a huge demand? Why there is a significant demand for the caste census in the country? Because caste census has a potential to provide the country with accurate and up-to-date data for caste-based demographics in India. There have been demands from the social justice groups, from the political parties, as well as Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, the RSS, so that there should be caste-based numerics in India. Once government knows the data, it can implement the policies in a more effective manner, and the most disadvantaged sections of society can take the advantage of it. Then the empirical basis. Here the Chief Justice of India emphasized the importance of empirical data as well as historical evidence in subclassification decision, so that there should not be political appeasement. ऐसा ना हो कि कोई ऐसा डेटा निकले जिससे इलेक्टोरल गेन्स हो पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज को, इलेक्टोरल अपीजमेंट के लिए उस कम्युनिटी को वो चीज दी जा रही है जो वो डिजर्व नहीं करती. दैट इज व्हाई चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया हैज सेड दैट देयर शुड बी एम्पिरिकल डेटा, देयर शुड बी प्रॉपर कास्ट सेंसस, देयर शुड बी प्रॉपर सब क्लासिफिकेशन which should not be arbitrary in nature, which should not have malified intent. Then subclassification must be based on systematic discrimination rather than arbitrary or political reasons. You would be glad to know that SECC 2011, that is census 2011, was the first census which in the post-independent India which tried to take the data of the caste based, but that data was never made public because that data was full of flaws. It was never used for the implementation of the policies at the national as well as the state level. Even the Congress party, when it was in power in 2011 under the United Progressive Alliance, that is UPA government, they also conducted the caste census across India. But again, that data was never made public because it might lead to increased social divisions in the society. It might lead to political tensions in the country, right? So the Supreme Court ruled that the creamy layer principle, which the previously applied only to OBC, as I've mentioned, OBC under Indira Sawhney versus Union of India judgment 1992, should now be applied to SCs and STs. State must exclude the creamy layer within SCs and ST from reservation benefits. So what it is saying, there are few creamy layers who are taking all the advantages of the reservation policies, so they should be excluded, and one should be included like Dalit Muslims, Christian scheduled caste. There are many communities who have not received the equitable distribution of resources despite the government interventions. Then limits to reservation benefits needs to be limited to the first generation beneficiaries. For example, if my grandfather has got all the reservation beneficiaries and his status has improved, his education level has improved, healthcare has improved, political representation, legal representation has improved, then it is not mandatory to pass on that reservation policy to the future generations. So it should be limited to first generation beneficiaries only. If any member of the family has taken advantage and achieved a higher status, the next generation will not be eligible for reservation. Then comes the challenges to the subclassification. What would be the challenges? Data collection. In SECC, that is Census 2011, there were around 47 lakh caste entries, and most of them had spelling mistakes as well as overlapping of data. When I say spelling mistakes, now I'll give you an example. Suppose we have Dhanak, we have Dhanuk, and we have Dhanka. These three are the castes. Look at their name. Dhanak, Dhanuk, Dhanka. These are three different castes. But when you take their name, it seems similar. So this is the major problem in the data collection. One more example, we have Sen. Sen in Bengal, S-E-N. They call themselves general. And then we have S-A-I-N. They call them SCs. But how would you pronounce this? S-E-N in Bengal and S-A-I-N. Sen, Sen. One Sen is general and another Sen is scheduled caste. Then again there are few people during the data collection which intentionally declare their caste as the lower castes in order to get the advantages, in order to get the reservation policies, in order to get free ration, free education, free healthcare. So intentionally they declare their caste as the scheduled caste or the scheduled tribe. So data collection is one of the major problems in a country like India. Again, one more point I can give you. Earlier data was collected by Ministry of Rural Development, Ministry of Urban Development. They do not have much experience in conducting the sociological surveys. So there should be some other authority. There should be some census commissioner or someone who has prior experience in conducting the data, in conducting the caste. Balancing the interest of different subgroups, that is SCs and STs, lakhs and lakhs of castes, then subcastes, then clans, then subclans, then gotras, then titles. It's a humongous task. It's a mammoth task. It's a confusing task. Then political resistance, it may face opposition from the political groups leading to delays and conflicts. As I've said, it might widen the social division in the society. Then administrative burden, it adds a significant administrative burden on the central as well as the state government. Then constitutional provisions. Here I will discuss the constitutional provisions. Article 14, equality before law and equal protection of laws. Here the constitution allows the state to do reasonable classification of castes in order to achieve substantive equality. Substantive equality is real equality, which means जो हिस्टोरिकली मार्जिनलाइज्ड कम्युनिटीज हैं, जो हिस्टोरिकली डिस्क्रिमिनेटेड कम्युनिटीज हैं, उनके लिए हमें कुछ स्पेशल एफर्ट्स लेने पड़ेंगे, कुछ स्पेशल रिजर्वेशन पॉलिसीज देने पड़ेंगे, कुछ स्पेशल पर्क्स देने पड़ेंगे, कुछ स्पेशल एंटाइटलमेंट्स देने पड़ेंगे, बट इट शुड बी रीजनेबल, इट शुड नॉट बी आर्बिट्रेरी इन nature. Then Article 15 Clause 4 and Article 15 Clause 5, it empowers the state to make special provisions for socially and educationally backward classes, which includes scheduled caste, scheduled tribes. So here socially and educationally backward classes. I'm just writing the short forms so that you get the idea. Then the third article, Article 16(4), it talks about reservation in public employment. Reservation in public employment for who? For backward classes. In case the backward classes are not adequately represented in services, so the state might give them reservation, might give them a place in the government jobs. Then Article 341(1), basically provision to identify the SC by whom? By President in consultation with the governor. Under which article? Under Article 341. Then under Article 341 Clause 2, 341 Clause 1, President in consultation with the governor can identify the scheduled caste. Then under Article 341 Clause 2, the Parliament may by law may include and exclude the SCs in the SC list. So basically Parliament through the law can include any of the SC and ST and exclude any SC or ST. Under which article? Article 341 Clause 2. I hope I'm making sense to you. So you need to remember all these provisions: 14, 15 Clause 4, 15 Clause 5, 16 Clause 4, 341 Clause 1 and 341 Clause 2. Then the conclusion, what states need to do? State needs to consider historically discrimination, economic disparities as well as social factors. It should prioritize socio-economic indicators over mere caste or tribal affiliations. It should gradually reduce the reliance on reservations, which is a distant dream, because any political party, if talks about to reduce the reservation system, they might lose power in the upcoming or in the next general elections. So no political party would be able to promise this in their election manifesto. Then I have a prelims practice question. This is basically a PYQ which was asked in 2023. So quickly solve this question and give me the answer. Everyone, Deepak, Seenu, Rishi, Payal, Ankit, Abhinandan, Golu, please give me the answers. Absolutely correct, Abhinandan. The correct answer is A. That is only one. Consider the following organization bodies in India. See, this is a PYQ question asked in 2023. C is wrong, Sonali. B is wrong. A is the correct answer. Only Priyanka and Abhinandan have given the correct answer. So the first, National Commission for Backward Classes, it's a constitutional body. Constitutional body established under which amendment? Established under 102 Amendment Act 2018. So first one is constitutional body. Then comes the National Human Rights Commission. Is it a constitutional body? No, it is a statutory body. Statutory body which was established under which act? Protection of Human Rights Act 1993. Then comes the National Law Commission. National Law Commission, again, it's neither a constitutional body nor a statutory body. It is a executive body. Executive body which was established by the government. Neither constitutional and nor statutory. Then the last National Commission, Dispute Redressal Commission. Basically, it was established under Consumer Protection Act 1986. So it is also a statutory body. But later on, this act was replaced by Consumer Protection Act 2019. So only one National Commission for Backward Class is a constitutional body. So the correct answer is only one. These three are, this is statutory body, NHRC. Then National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, again statutory body. National Law Commission is neither constitutional nor statutory. It's an executive body established by the Government of India. Then comes the overcrowding of prisons. As I have mentioned, overcrowding of prison has become a logistical challenge as well as human rights challenge for the state. So we will see, this editorial is full of data, but I will try to mention if there are any explanation needed, and I'll tell you one more judgment which was there in the news few days back. So I will discuss that as well, though it's not mentioned in today's news, but I will tell you the judgment. Then prisons are overcrowded, human right issue, logistical challenge, GS paper 1, Indian society. Then prisons overcrowding. Now India's prison population is projected to reach 6.8 lakh by 2030, whereas current prison capacity is only 5.15 lakh. So by 2030 we are expecting around 7 lakh prisoners, but the present capacity is around 5 lakh only. The national average occupancy rate of prisons is more than 131%, leading to severe overcrowding which has exacerbated various health and social problems. Then the report highlights 43% vacancy in the number of medical officers in prisons, with severe shortages of psychologists as well as psychiatrists. As we all know, mental health issues are rising nowadays. Same is happening with the prisoners as well. But there are no medical staff, there are no psychiatrists, there are no psychologists for the prisoners. So this editorial, this report is highlighting that issue as well. India's national prison doctor ratio stands at 775 prisoners per doctor, far above 300 according to Model Prison Manual. So prison is a state subject. I hope you all know prison is a state subject. In this modern prison manual, the ratio is 300 doctors for the 300 prisoners per doctor, but presently the situation is that 775 prisoners per doctor. There are only 25 psychologists available for India's prison population of over 5.7 lakh prisoners. You look at the data, only 25 psychologists for how many? 5.7 lakh prisoners, with the ratio being psychologists for every 22,000 prisoners. So this is something which the government needs to look after. Then comes the next, mental health crisis. Mental illnesses have increased from this in 2012 to 9084, yet the response remains largely absent. No state or UT is fulfilling this quota. No state in the country as well as UT is fulfilling this quota. Many regions failing to provide the basic mental health services in the prisons. The report also identified the lack of health data on prisoners with disability, those who acquire disability, pointing to deficiency in tracking the health needs of prisoners. All this is data, so I'm just reading it for you. Then overcrowding is also identified as root cause for spread of communicable disease. This we all know. If there are overcrowding, there would be more chances of spread of diseases as well, which poses additional risk. It stresses the need for better staffing, medical professionals, mental health experts, and call for effective policy measure to address this gap in the present system. Only 69 section posts for psychologists and psychiatrists, but not even half of them. So basically 70 hai post. There are 69 sanctioned posts for the psychologist and the psychiatrist for the Indian prisons, but again not even half of them have been fulfilled. As we have seen, there are only 25 psychologists for around 22,000 prisoners, right? Then comes the next, that is way forward. Before I discuss the way forward, I would like to tell you the judgment, that is Sukanya Shanta versus Union of India 2024, in which Supreme Court has said, Supreme Court basically struck down few of the provisions of the jail manuals which was promoting discrimination among the prisoners. Discrimination among the prisoners based on their castes. If you belong to a marginalized caste, then you are supposed to do the sweeping work. If you belong to a upper caste community, then you are supposed to do the cooking work. If you belong to some other community, you will do the gardening work. If you belong to some the lowest, the ST community, you are supposed to clean the toilets. So that sort of discrimination, Supreme Court has said that it should be banned, it should be stopped then and there under this judgment. Then comes the way forward, increase funding and resources. Again, there should be more funding, more resources provided by the state government, so that there should be more medical professionals, there should be more and efficient medical services as well as medical equipments. Then technological integration. So what does it saying here? Under technological integration, the technology needs to be integrated so that all medical records needs to be saved electronically. All medical records of prisoners needs to be saved electronically. Then comes one more example, telemedicine. Telemedicine for the prisoners in remotest of the remote areas. So telemedicine and electronic medical records. Then recruitment of mental health and medical staff. As I have said, there should be more hiring for the psychiatrist, for the psychologist as well as medical professionals. Here we have 69 sanctioned posts, so all those posts needs to be fulfilled as well. Then adopt policy reforms for prison healthcare. In this, what the government is saying, there should be national health prisoners standard. That means there should be national health prisoner standard. This should be introduced at the Government of India level, so that this needs to be followed by all the states for their prisoners, for their jail manuals, because prison is ultimately a state subject. One more initiative or one more advice has been given by Supreme Court Center for Research and Planning. In order to reduce the overcrowding, what they have said, they have recommended electronic tracking of under trials. Electronic tracking of under trials. So basically what they are saying, in order to reduce the overcrowd in the prisons, what we can do the electronic surveillance of the under trials. By what? By ankle bracelets. So basically they can be fitted with GPS ankle bracelets, and they should be asked to move out, they should be asked to live a normal life, so that the prison authority can keep a surveillance over them. So it would uphold their non-violent under trials as well. It would uphold the rule of law, as well as it will reduce the overcrowding in the prisons. So this has been suggested by the Supreme Court Center for Research and Planning. Then comes the next, okay, we have a PYQ here. Again, please solve this PYQ. It was asked in 2023. This is the second PYQ. I have one more PYQ at the last under prelim section. So please solve this question. Anyone give me the answer? This shows that you are not practicing the PYQs. Anand has given the correct answer. So I'll read it for you. Consider the following statements. Statement 1 says, in India, prisons are managed by the state governments with their own rules and regulations for the day-to-day administration of prisons. Anand, Abhinandan, Dheeraj, Priyanka, everyone has given the correct answer. As I have said, prison is a state subject. So this statement is right. Statement 2 says, in India, prisons are governed by Prison Act 1894, kept the subject of prisons under provincial governments. Provincial government, that is state government only, because it's talking about a pre-independence act, that is Prisoners Act 1894. So which one of the following statements is correct in respect of the above statement? Both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation for statement 1. Basically, pre-independence, under Prisoners Act 1894, prisons was under the provincial government, that is under the state government. This is being said in the statement 2. So statement 2 is the correct explanation of statement 1, because pre-independence के बाद automatically पहले भी state का subject था, बाद में भी state subject ही था prisons. So statement 2 is the correct explanation for statement 1. Then comes the next. How can V2G technology help India's power sector? Why in news VTG technology and syllabus, that is GS paper 3 science and technology. So I'll just read it for you. There is not much here. V2G is vehicle to grid, refers to technology which allow the electric vehicle batteries to send the power back to the grid when it's not being used. When the vehicle is idle, it stabilizes the grid by supplying power during peak demand periods or when renewable energy generation is low. So basically, India is at a very early stage, or I should say nascent stage of development. India is still yet developing, doing all sort of research and development for this vehicle to grid technology. Recently, Kerala State Electricity Board has collaborated with IIT Bombay in order to do the experiments with this technology, that is vehicle to grid technology. So charging the EV from the grid and sending power from the EV back to the grid. Then comes the prelims, that was all there in the V2G technology, that all you need supposed to know. Then comes Nahargarh Wildlife Sanctuary. So this is the front page. This was the picture, that Nahargarh Biological Park in Jaipur. So where is Nahargarh Wildlife Sanctuary? It's located in the Aravalli Hills in Jaipur, Rajasthan, 20 kilometers Jaipur, Rajasthan. The Nahargarh Biological Park is the part of the Nahargarh Wildlife Sanctuary which is famous for lion safaris. So that's all you need to know. Where is Nahargarh Wildlife Sanctuary? Rajasthan. Then largest wildlife sanctuary. Anyone can tell me which is the largest wildlife sanctuary of India? Dhruv, Sonali, Golu, Hina, Priyanka, Dheeraj. Anyone? Which is the largest wildlife sanctuary in India? So basically, we have Rann of Kutch Wildlife Sanctuary in Gujarat, which is the largest wildlife sanctuary in India. Then the largest tiger reserve, is, I'll just write it here only, if you can see, this is Nagarjuna Sagar Sri Salem, Nagarjuna Sagar Sri Salem Tiger Reserve in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So this is the largest tiger reserve, Nagarjuna Sagar Sri Salem Tiger Reserve in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. And then Rann of Kutch Wildlife Sanctuary in Gujarat is the largest wildlife sanctuary. Then comes the prelims PYQ. So we have practiced 3 PYQs today. 3 PYQs. The first, constitutional body, then the second one related to prisons, and this is the third one which was asked in 2020. So quickly give me the answer. I've just told you. Quickly give me the answer. Hina, Anand, Priyanka, anyone? Among the following tiger reserves, which one has the largest area under critical tiger habitat? Absolutely, Deepika, you have given the correct answer. This is Nagarjuna Sagar Sri Salem. This is the correct answer. Again, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Now, after this session, absolutely Sonali, Abhinandan, Golu, Anand, Priyanka, Hina, Dheeraj, all of you have given the correct answer. Read about Corbett, read about Ranthambore, read about Sundarbans, as well as Nagarjuna Sagar Sri Salem. So read these options in detail, where they are located, what sort of river are passing through, what sort of flora, what fauna, any sort of national park, any sort of wildlife sanctuary located in that, if it's in news, why in news. So do all these 4 options holistically. That is why we say PYQs are important. With PYQs you can predict the questions as well. With this, we have come to the end of today's daily news analysis session. I hope all of you all the very best. Study well, be disciplined, show persistent effort every day. Very few days have left for your upcoming prelims, that is on 25th of May. So all the best to everyone. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Thank you so much.